$47,000, not clickbait. It really could be Bitcoin's next monthly target, and that month could be the month of November. Right now, I'm going to show you why, historically and simply in the low-term time frame charts. Also, I'm going to let you know that if that target is hit in November or December around 47K, Bitcoin has a governor or something that suppresses its speed, helps control what it can and cannot do, essentially a guide or a path. And if that is hit, then Bitcoin governor, or that thing that suppresses speed, will kick in, and Bitcoin would have to correct fairly largely, perhaps even 30%, and then go sideways. I'm going to show you why that is the case if 47K is hit either in November or December. Let's get to it. Let's don't waste any time. Hoo! We're staring at what I call my master channel. It is a price channel that holds all of Bitcoin price since it was $2. $2 back in December or November of 2011. And returning viewers, if you can go ahead and hit that, smash the like real quick for me. Leave me a quick comment for the algo. Returning viewer or new viewers, I don't need you to do that quite yet. I want you to make sure that you like what I'm about ready to show you. In the middle of this mega master range, we have horizontal or parallel lines, not horizontal, parallel lines to the top and bottom lines. The blue stripe here is the point of control, or the halfway mark. Bitcoin used to use that blue line as permanent support throughout its whole life until March of 2020, when it broke that support, although it V-shaped corrected right back into it. And now Bitcoin has not only broken that blue line of support for the first time without a V-shaped correction ever, but Bitcoin went below the next one down, and 47K would be using that one as resistance. So first off, this line has never been touched before. Bitcoin's always been above it. And Bitcoin, this blue line, typically uses this as support. And the one time in history it did it, it V-shaped corrected and then went into a bull market almost right away. Almost right away. There are about 3 or 4 months there of pause. And this is the monthly chart. And so this should help orient your eyes to what is going on with Bitcoin price on the monthly and what is at stake right now. And if this line were used as resistance all the way through, let's say, December of 2025, when we could speculate the top of the next bull market is, because it's the 4-year cycle, 2017, 2021, 2025, using that as resistance, hypothetically, yet it realistically could happen, that line would be almost 200K, be about 180K in December. And if it hit it before there in November, then it would be a little bit lower, so on and so forth, around 170, 180, if it hit in November, December. So that line being used as resistance, not just now at 47K, but potentially the whole bull market, and that gets the top, that could be what that line ends up representing. Similar to how this blue line, or the half-court line, historically has been used as support. From 20K, the roughly 84% correction, Bitcoin used that as support and went straight down to it and used it as support. Just like it did the previous bear market, went straight down to the bottom of that blue line, he rode up, used it as support. Like for a long time, until 2017, until May. And when it finally lifted above it in July. Actually in May. No, it used it as support through January of 2017. I apologize. So from January 15 to January 2017, 2 whole years. And even if that line is never touched again, because the line below it is used as resistance, Bitcoin would still almost hit 200K. This bull run, if there is a bull run similar to previous bull runs. Okay, so that should give you a perspective of where we are in the charts. Now let's go to a different time frame. This is not Bitcoin. This is Bitcoin versus the stock market. The short-term time frames, very, very, very easy to look at if I zoom out first. I'm on the 1-hour chart. It's a nice, pretty shape, but what the fuck are we looking at, Tim? All right. We are looking at a year-long channel back from when Bitcoin hit the 15.5 lows in November of 2022, almost exactly a year ago. I think it was November 9th or so. We have November 9th. A year-long channel. Bitcoin made weekly higher high, higher low, higher high, and then consolidated for 210 days or so, and now it actually broke the weekly trend doing so. The weekly turned into a no trend because it closed below, but that was a fake out. And then it busted up to do another weekly high horizontally, but in this higher high, Bitcoin is simply bumping its head, which this channel was the foremost talked about topic in my last YouTube video, which if you haven't seen it and you want to learn more about this 1 year long channel and why Bitcoin is tapping its head on here is so important, go ahead and check that out. But in general, on this time, so on the very, very large time frames, remember what's going on and what's at stake. Now, this time frame, about a year of price history, this is what's at stake. Bitcoin, if it can get back in there, then November has a great chance of hitting that 47K, right? It just needs to get back in there. Because if it keeps using this as support, I don't think 47K would not be in the cards. Therefore, if 47K is going to happen, now we can use the same chart on the lower time frames, and we know that Bitcoin will have to and will, like it's how it will move a 47K sit, similar to how I guessed the breakout point, which was my 29.1 guess. I said Bitcoin will probably have a probability of going up. So even the video before last, so 2 videos ago, I mentioned this 29.1, Bitcoin will go above it, use it as support, which it did on low time frames, like on the 5 minute, and then blast it up. And I said if it does that, goes above, use it as support. And it actually did it on the time frame a little smaller than I thought. I think I drew it on the 1 hour, but it did happen almost exactly on the 5 minute. So similar to how I was able to guess with confidence, because it's just easy. Like it was the range of 65 days. If it breaks above, it's going to fly up and it's going to hit this area. So similar to how that was easy, just very easy analysis. The same idea is here as well. To get to 47K, you got to get above that blue line and use it as support. And if 47K is hit, it won't just blast up it won't do a dip and rip. It won't dip down below 33.2 and then rip up without coming down to touch this line. So if there is a dip and rip, it would still have to dip down, rip up, and then land on it and use it as support and then take out the punch high, the first high above. So if there's a dip and rip, it will move almost exactly like that. It could be more spread out, something like this, but it will come up and it will use this guy as support. So that is what you're looking at. So if you want to try to replicate this line, I am on the 1 hour chart. You don't have to make it exactly perfectly, but if you want to zoom out on the daily and just realize, hey, like it might be a good idea to have this line because if I extend it, it actually, it doesn't actually hit the 15.5 low, but it gets a whole year long channel. It's the 20K low and the 25K low of recent. That's what's at stake. So now we have the large time frames, what's going on, 47K could be a target. On the midterm time frames, we know what's at stake, got to get back in this channel. And then zooming in on the very low time frames here, we know exactly what we're going to look at and exactly what we're going to see if Bitcoin is actually going to get back up in here. Make it that simple, just like we knew exactly what to look for if Bitcoin was going to initiate a probability of going up to 40K. And if you saw my, and if you check out other analysts, so this is for new viewers, check out folks or just content creators who might have posted something like a big number like 40K or something high after this breakout happened. And then realize that I posted a 40 like that and said 40K is going to become probable before it busted out. So I'm also showing you before 47K is probable. I'm telling you, for new viewers, it will move that way. I can't stress it. So go back on this video, try to draw that line out, and then leave me a comment to let me know, hey, I was able to draw that line for new viewers. And just leave it there, and I promise you it's going to help you. Because even if it doesn't break into it, Bitcoin's going to keep using it as resistance for a while. All right? Now, I'm going to show you one more thing that is going to be pretty bullish. That heavily supports the idea that Bitcoin's going to keep going. Very simple rule. For new viewers, I've talked, returning viewers, you're going to hear something I've said a lot throughout the couple years I've been doing this. Go to the daily chart on Bitcoin. Doesn't have to be pretty, but just go to the RSI. You don't have to have the control zones. The green zone here begins at roughly 65. So what if you don't have the same thing on your RSI chart? Just go to 65 and hit Alt-H to put a horizontal there, and boom. And just imagine it's green above it. But here's the rule. When Bitcoin, anytime in its history, it hits the 80 line, it's not going to go up, straight up, and straight down. It doesn't work like that. Like, it almost doesn't have permission to not make new daily highs. It's very hard, if not impossible. Actually, no, I do know one. I think in 2019 it did this and it did go. There are only one or two exceptions on the daily chart. So if you have one or two exceptions on the weekly or monthly chart throughout Bitcoin's short price history, that's a lot of exceptions, and you probably don't have a very good probability. But the daily chart has gone through many more cycles throughout Bitcoin's roughly 14-year history, 14.5-year history. And there aren't many exceptions to this rule. Bitcoin hits daily, RSI hits 80. It just keeps going. And the last time I said that, I could actually show you the whereabouts. It was the first time Bitcoin charged up from the 15.5 lows and hit 23K. And I mentioned it doesn't have permission to not make more higher highs. And it made another higher high, another higher high. It poked up 1, 2, 3 more times. It made four higher highs on the daily in that move. And then corrected, but kept the overall trend, and then made yet another one. So it made 5 higher highs. And if you want to see what that looks like on the RSI, I think during the big correction, the RSI came well below the green zone. But throughout all of this time, from January of 21st of 2023 through February 1st of 2023, if you go look at the daily RSI, that might be at least about what we're getting ready to see. And remember how price made higher high after higher high on that, and I can zoom in to show you a little bit better. But here it's lower high after lower high after lower high. So this lower high dipped below 60, but then poked its head back in. That should have been one more higher high. So if I make a line there to show you, I should be a higher high in price. Should be. And it is close to, but it's not. Nope, it was not a higher high. So it went down a little too far. But usually when you poke your head out of the green zone and poke it back in, like on the 4 hour and above, it's usually a higher high. So this lower high was a higher high, and this lower high was a higher high in price. So if I move this guy over, see this is very much a lower high on RSI, the one with the arrows pointing. Now if we go to price, where this up and down line is, this will be a higher high. And it ended up going, one high, 2 high, a third higher high, a fourth higher high, right on that stimulated that move. So it made a higher high when RSI was confirming a lower high. So what does that mean for current? And that's typically the rules. So go back to daily Bitcoin's current daily RSI. Well, we haven't even made a lower high yet. Like, we're still at higher highs and higher lows. Like, this isn't totally confirmed. This could swoop around and do another one, right? I don't think that's going to happen, because if it corrects here and goes like this, that's another higher high. And that's another higher high. Following the rule that Bitcoin essentially cannot go straight up and straight down if the daily RSI hits 80. And this makes it so that 41K area is probable to be hit before this move peters out. However, this daily RSI trick and the history of it, very, very strong, statistically strong history. I don't know if I actually don't know if it makes 47K probable during this specific move. So before the daily RSI comes below here, the 60 zone, will 47K be hit? Is that probable? I don't know, but it makes what I do know is this strongly supports the case that 47K could be the target for November. And for the community members, today's daily update, it has a normal thumbnail if you happen to be watching this YouTube video, but the title mentions portfolio management ideas if Bitcoin gets away from you, goes all the way up to 47K. How do you, should you FOMO? What type of thoughts should you be having particularly if you have not gotten into crypto? That's what today's daily update was about, and that's for the Discord community and the technical analysis tier of YouTube as well. So the YouTube community, and if you're a new person, you want to check that out, the join button down below, if you click that, it'll pop up a 90-second video, show you what the YouTube tier is about, and then links to the Discord community and visual instructions on how to join as a free member, so you can check it out, are in the description section. You just got Timified Worldwide. Peace.